They were the black and white cookie of making people laugh. The first and only interracial comedy team in the history of the universe. What? Yes, it's true. Just last week, they released this book detailing their start in the 1960s. It's called Tim and Tom, an American comedy in black and white. Joining us are Tim Reid and Tom Dreesen. If hilarity were a roller coaster, I'd scream every time I rode them. So you guys are doing, you guys just did David Letterman tonight.
Yes.
It's got to be a step down for you to do our show and then do Letterman.
No, what step down is being called a cookie.
It was meant affectionately.
Oh, sure.
I would say a step down is more like an elevator shaft 38 floors. A step down, that's just minor.
Exactly.
That's where our studio's located.
So it was a big deal, you guys being the only white-black comedy duo. What was your tour like? What was your routine like?
Well, I mean, the routine based on the kind of material that we were doing, you got to realize, let me first put it in context. This was 1968. We just lost two great leaders, Dr. King, Robert Kennedy, Democratic Convention, anti-war demonstrations.
You need to explain that to Bill. That was a senator and a civil rights leader.
Is 1968 a year?
Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah, you were still an embryo. Race riots and all that, and we decided let's go in and make people laugh with it. So we would have to put our comedy in a way that we felt would relate to sort of the, I guess you'd say, the way we felt about it, the irony of race. We didn't do racial jokes, the irony of race.
Now, what did you run into in certain, let's say, intolerant areas? What kind of crap did they throw at you? Was it good crap or bad crap?
The fourth time we ever appeared on stage in Chicago Heights, Illinois, a guy put a lit cigarette out in Tim's face, smashed it in his face, and then we got into a Donnybrook. He damn near killed me. He outweighed us both by 100 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, it was the fourth time we ever put on stage, and then we get in the car then after the brawl, and I could hardly breathe, and Tim's face all scarred, and Tim looked at me and he said, "Welcome to show business."
Now, what's worse? Were they mad that you were black, or were they more mad that you were working with a black man?
Well, it depended. I mean, like if we were in an all-black situation, black club, they were mad with me because I was with him.
Yeah.
And the same thing, if we were in an all-white club, they were mad with him because he was with me.
Now, not everybody, as you read in the book, we had a lot of great audience, great shows, but that element was always there.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, in those days, Senator Obama and John McCain are saying now we need a discourse among the races. Well, in those days, blacks in my neighborhood would say, "Tommy, do all white people say this or think that?" And white people said, "Well, all blacks think this." They were not having the discourse, so Tim and I were the discourse for them. When we went on stage, even if we weren't doing racial material, we were still a black guy and a white guy having a lot of fun on stage, so we were having the discourse they wouldn't have.
Yeah. And then once you guys got married in Massachusetts, you brought in the gay element, which was really good.
Well, I'll tell you what would happen. Because we weren't paid anything, we were getting peanuts, we would always have to room together.
Yeah.
So we'd go into some little place, some Podunk place, or in Missouri or North Dakota, and we'd go in and say, "We'd like to have a room." And they'd look at us, like 2 in the morning, we've been driving. "So you want a room? You want a queen-size bed? Well, give us a damn bed." Now, we didn't care if they thought we were gay. We just wanted to let them know we were mean gays.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, you guys had to share rooms. What else did you share?
Well, you got to read the book.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one thing we didn't share was women. We had a deal. We didn't share women, but what we would do is leave the room so the other guy could have his fun.
Yes, you had the hanger on the door thing. I would imagine.
Pretty much how Greg and I are, minus the women.
Yeah, exactly.
After every show.
Exactly. We just have Blue Boy magazine.
Yeah.
What did you? That's for Bill. That's a throwback to God knows what.
I'm an inaugural subscriber.
Were there comedy groupies back then? Were there, like being in a rock band, did you have girls lining up?
We call them jokies.
Jokies?
You don't have groupies, you have jokies when you're a comedian.
But we also worked at Playboy clubs. They were still in their vogue at that time, and we worked just about all of them, I believe.
Wow. Now, the one thing that's always about the Playboy Club, you always see Robert Culp. I imagine he was there. Robert Culp is there. He's probably still there.
Everyone was there, believe me.
Yeah. Did you have any fond memories?
Even after Culp died, he still would go to the Playboy.
God rest his soul. Oh, man.
People would enjoy drinks on him.
Yeah. Now, how different is the world now in terms of humor than it was then?
We couldn't do a kind of comedy we did there. I mean, because now it's all politically correct, and also people don't have a sense of humor like they did then.
Yeah.
Now, boy, if somebody had a camera or something and videoed us while we were performing and put it on YouTube, we'd be out of business.
Yeah, it's true.
It's difficult now.
Yeah, I mean, people get in trouble for saying, humorists get in trouble for saying things just because, and whether they mean it or not, they're in trouble.
Well, your classic example is a year ago they asked Joe Biden, "What do you think of Barack Obama?" He said, "Well, I think he's clean, he's articulate," and the world came down on him.
Yes,
exactly.
It's just, comedy, you cannot put a lid on comedy. There's only one rule in comedy, though. That's be funny. That's the only rule there is in comedy.
It's the one we fail constantly. Bill and I fail.
But one thing, you keep trying, and that's what you know.
Exactly. It's the trying part that's funny. Now, you know, you toured with Sinatra. You must have one crazy Sinatra story.
I have 1,000 crazy Sinatra stories.
What's the craziest one?
I mean, there's nothing crazy. You know, he just was this incredibly complex individual. But he was an absolute pro at the performance when it's showtime. But it's not a crazy story. We were sitting in a bar one night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and there was no one in the bar but he and I, and a station wagon pulled up in front, and two ladies, and one lady got out and she ran inside and she said, "Do they have a jukebox in here?" "Excuse me, they have a jukebox." And Frank Sinatra turned around and he looked her right in the face. He said, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" She said, "Do they have a jukebox in here?" And Frank looked around and he said, "No." "No." He said, "I'll sing for you." She said, "No, thanks." And she turned around and she walked out.
and then he had her killed. He had her killed. I got one question. I want to talk to you. One question, WKRP. Jan Smithers or Lonnie Anderson?
Lonnie Anderson.
Lonnie?
Lonnie. It's been a long time. Jan Smithers or Lonnie Anderson?
Both depend on my mood.
I was a Jan Smithers person myself.
Yes.
I loved her. All right, we got to move on.
Beautiful women.
Here's the book. Buy the book. These are great guys. Tim and Tom, an American comedy in black and white. It's now available at a bookstore near you. Go out and buy it.